Hi everyone, it's Crystal here of Homesteading, Vancouver Island. It is mid-July. I'm here today. I'm going to give you a tour of my unheated greenhouse, and you might just call this a poly tunnel. It's basically just a carport frame with poly wrapping on it. It was here when we bought our property, so I've just been utilizing it as an unheated greenhouse in the summertime. I don't really keep too much in here over the winter, but just want to show you what I have in here this year. So typically I use this space for tomatoes and peppers and squash, anything that's sort of heat loving in the summer, because it does get very hot and humid in here even with the windows open. So I'll just back up so you can see I just have a regular screen door on here, which I have propped open pretty much 24/7 now, unless it gets cold out. And then there's just a single window down at the end there, which I leave open for the most part to try and get some airflow through here. There is no ventilation up top, so with the sun beating in here, it does get very hot during the day. If I were to close these windows and door, the window and door, everything would probably roast and die. So don't want to do that. But I also have a sprinkler system set up in here. Not very high tech. It's basically just a hose with a oscillating sprinkler head in here that covers the whole area. And I know it's not always ideal to be watering your plants like this from the top, but that's kind of my only option. I've tried a ground level irrigation system here, and unfortunately the water pressure just wasn't working. So this is what's working now, and it seems to be doing okay. The tomatoes don't seem to mind too much that they get rained over top. But just want to show you what I've got here. So I've actually got a fuchsia in here. This is from last year, and it's kind of loving it in here actually. But I've got tomatoes hanging up in some of these baskets. So these are tumbler tomatoes, tumbler cherry tomatoes. I do have some baby tomatoes starting here, so you can see just starting to get some baby tomatoes on some of those. But I've got a few baskets of those, and then I've got some sugar baby pumpkins here climbing up that area there, and they're just sort of trellised over top of these wood stakes that I have in here. I also have some different varieties of squash, like I have buttercup squash, butternut squash, acorn squash down below there. I've got some cantaloupe plants there. I've got some basil in a pot. Got some cucamelons over here, which are very tasty. Those are cute. It's a tiny little vine. And then the rest of these are all just different tomato varieties. And oh, I've got a couple cucumbers trying to do in here as well. Oh, and the beans. I've got beans all along that. I've got some netting up on each side. So I've got beans. You can see them here coming up along the sides, and those are going to start crawling up the netting here pretty soon. I've got beans on that side back there. But yeah, otherwise I have like quite a few varieties of tomatoes here. Just some of the varieties I have are beefsteak, pink brandywine, tiny Tim, yellow pear. I have an heirloom mix, lemon boy, tropical sunset, Roma, orange, truffle, indigo heart, gooseberry, chocolate cherry, tumbling tom, heart, Roma, gardener's delight, and more. So yeah, you can see I like my tomato varieties. But anyways, everything's doing good. We're gonna have a hot week the next week here, and so everything should really start to take off. For fertilizer, what I've been doing is an organic 444 granular fertilizer in the soil every couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and I've been adding Epsom salts for magnesium. I also made a homemade fertilizer mix with some alfalfa meal, bone meal, and calcium carbonate. So it's kind of like a balanced homemade fertilizer blend that I've been adding. I will make another video on that too. But they love the Epsom salts, the tomatoes. I don't have many, actually I don't have any peppers in here right now except for this one little volunteer pepper plant that came up in this fuchsia basket. I've had a problem with wood bugs or pill bugs. Last year I had a real problem. They ate like everything in here. So this year it's much better. So hopefully we get a good harvest this year. So yeah, that's my unheated greenhouse, and I'll provide an update again later on in the summer. Thanks for watching.